When I was around 10 years old, I was at recess with a couple of friends when one of them started talking about this video game where you could do almost anything you wanted. He called it Minecraft. The concept of this was strange and exciting to little me, as I hadn't really heard about anything other than Nintendo at this point in my life, so this was a huge jump away from what I knew about video games. For a while, I kept up this facade that I knew what Minecraft was. I had no clue it was based on blocks, and my friends figured out pretty quickly that I was trying to sound like I knew what the game was. They urged me to play it and told me that I could get it on the phone if I wanted, since they knew my mom didn't let me play games on the computer. From what my friends said about the game, I knew I had to try it out for myself. I began asking my mom for it, which at first was met with a lot of pushback. She was wary about video games due to things she saw in the news, so progress was of course slow. I kept up my pestering for about 3 months before she finally gave in. Minecraft was finally in my grasp, and I was about to go on a ride lasting all the way to adulthood. My first experience in Minecraft was this dinky, free-to-play version Mojang launched for people who wanted to get a little taste of the Pocket Edition before they paid for the full version. Even though it was lacking in most of what made Minecraft, it was still enough to get me hooked in the game. I played around with the game, doing most of the things people did with it during their first moments. I broke the ground around me, explored the world, and built ridiculous houses and skyscrapers for seemingly no reason. One of the builds I did early on was a castle made of wool blocks and bricks. It wasn't spectacular, but it made for my earliest dedicated build in Minecraft. Eventually, I figured out how dangerous nighttime was in the early versions of the game. I made glass boxes to put myself in just to watch zombies spawn and swarm around me. The entire experience was just great. I really didn't expect the game to be the way that it was from what my friends had said. The cube world with cube features was strange to a young me who only knew blocks through Lego. I enjoyed it nonetheless, so when I got tired of the free version, I decided to ask for the full one. Now, I didn't have my own phone at the time, and wouldn't for a full 5 years. My mom needed her phone, and giving it to me for even an hour to play the funny block app was hard for her, so when I asked for the full version, she was even more hesitant than the first time with Minecraft Lite. This time, I would have to keep asking for almost a whole year before she inevitably gave in. On my 11th birthday, I was given the best gift I could have asked for, Minecraft Pocket Edition. Minecraft PE came into my life just as I was getting into gaming tech and design. The addition of certain blocks and world seeds kept me engaged in the game and what I could pull off with it. At the start, I built more of those dinky little buildings and statues as I had before, though it wouldn't be until I was around 12 that I put actual care into making things in Minecraft. Which, come on, anyone who played Minecraft when they were a kid did this, building those classic block homes with random towers and holes everywhere, the classic diamond gold block houses. That will always be peak Minecraft in my eyes. I played on my mom's phone almost every day, just building and enjoying the game, and occasionally I would go into the Safari app to search up seeds to use in my worlds. This is where I found out how cool seeds could be, and this also led to me finding one seed to rule them all, Nyan. By far the coolest seed in Minecraft Pocket Edition to this day. 3 lava falls, 2 or 3 waterfalls, a huge mountain cave, and plenty more treats all existed in this seed. I loaded it up and just started exploring the world and everything it had to offer. I planned to make some cool tunnel bases in the world, but I had to hold off as Christmas was coming, so I couldn't play on my mom's phone for a few days. It was on that Christmas that I got my iPod Touch, and I was finally able to play Minecraft on a device of my own. The second everything was set up, I launched Minecraft and immediately made a creative world on the Nyan seed that I just named UIT. I had the best world names back in the day, don't judge me. This would be my main world for 2.5 years, and over this time I paid close attention to the game updates and what they were planning to do to expand the Pocket Edition. During the time I played it, it didn't come close to standing on the same ground as the console edition, or any other edition for that matter. Every update brought the game closer and closer to these versions, but it would be a long time before they stood on par with each other, and I was ecstatic with every single update. I don't remember many of them, but one I do remember was the addition of cake and buckets into the game in the summer of 2013. Let me say for the record, I made a huge cake empire when this update dropped. I played creative mode for the most part, the building being my main focus for the game. There wasn't a nether or the end in survival yet, so there wasn't much of a reason to play survival for anything other than the challenge. I played the Pocket Edition until I was around 15 when I received my first phone. Having to pay for the app again and already having the Xbox One edition at that point gave me the right situation to stray away from Minecraft PE. Before I left though, I made one last build. A giant mountain bunker in the one place in the Nyan Seed world that I hadn't touched. I really wish I still had the world around today so I could show it, but sadly the iPod Touch died for good when I was in my junior year of high school. Lots of Minecraft's mass popularity gain has been through YouTube. I wasn't able to partake in the huge golden age of Minecraft YouTube when Sky Does Minecraft and Captain Sparkles were the headrunners. My parents are very protective over me with internet stuff, so when I was able to look up stuff on YouTube, I normally watched what I knew was out there. The only Minecraft or semi-Minecraft YouTuber I knew of at the time was Tobuscus.
Hello once again, audience. When we left off, I was in this beautiful new world of not Warcraft, but the other one. I missed snow. Makes me want to make some hot cocoa.
I never watched him much, but he was the only person on the site I watched Minecraft content from. That would change over time as I found out about things like survival games and other mods. I watched that content rather religiously to the point where I understood some of the survival game server maps as if I had played them before. I had a desperate craving for these game modes, and without a PC I couldn't play these mods or servers as they were. Not yet, at least. This caused for me to search for a way to satiate this craving in some other way. I decided to do it through an app that allowed servers to be created and joined on the PE version of Minecraft. I downloaded it and began my first journey through Minecraft servers. The Pocket Edition servers weren't very polished and many just wouldn't function. They apparently worked much better on Android, but I was on Apple, so I just had to deal with what I could get. I played a lot of survival games, and many of those games were played on early Lifeboat servers that could barely work. I refined my skills and became quite good at survival games, though sadly this would be the last time in my life I would be any good at a battle royale. Outside of these servers, I would join parkour servers with huge maps and really hard jumps. This is where I met my first few online friends who weren't really all that great, but hey, it was people and it was a start. Through these people, I discovered a seed sharing app that has since sunk below the water. This seed forum also had a section for art and another for chat rooms. This app was my first social media, and it was an experience to say the least. The forum included sections for PC seeds, console seeds, and Pocket Edition seeds alike. The community surrounding the PE seeds was small, and this caused my sudden interest and participation to be noticed. Due to the definite world boundaries of the Pocket Edition, good seeds were hard to come by, and really good seeds were like finding a needle in a haystack. Nyan was the king of Pocket Edition seeds for years, and it was especially hard to find seeds that stood the same test of time. My best finds were of seeds with huge mountains and super flat valleys. These pandered to the community members that loved exploration and also the ones who loved building. I gained a small following of people who engaged in my finds and told me how great it was that I was actively looking for them. It was this that gave me my first community, and through this, my first drive to create content. I just want to take a second to make a heartfelt thanks to those who drove me to post seed finds. It planted a seed of its own within me that grew into a will to make content for others to enjoy, and I really cannot give enough thanks for that. As my time with the seed forum began slowing, and my time to play the game gradually became shorter, I agreed to let my enjoyment of the game be purely through the gameplay. The Pocket Edition hadn't had a major update in a few months, and at this point it had already surpassed the Console Edition, which at the time only had varying world sizes and some better functionality through the improved processing system. The addition of the Nether was the last update I found enjoyable or worth hyping up for. I found myself drawing away from the game, and to be honest, I can't blame myself. At this point in time, I had my hands on the Xbox One version of the game. I wasn't terribly impressed with it, by this point the Pocket Edition had surpassed it with infinite worlds and such. I was practicing better building techniques, but I just couldn't keep up with most of my builds, either due to not having enough time or the builds just being way too ambitious. Changing from the Pocket Edition's movement to the Xbox One's movement was a lot better, and it felt more natural in my hands. My friends were the ones who wanted me to get the console version, and when I finally did, they didn't play anymore, so I didn't really see the point in trying anything online. It wasn't long before I got my first phone and decided to drop the Pocket Edition entirely in favor of the Xbox One version, which was a decision I am still glad for. It helped give me a reason to play the game the way I had for so many years. This didn't continue for long though, as I was far more interested in playing games like Terraria and Destiny, along with other games I couldn't play throughout my childhood. That and the addition of minecoins and the purchasing of skins made me feel kind of betrayed by the game. The game's free expression was something I held close to me, and having it behind a paywall now was heartbreaking to say the least. Sure, you could still play with a custom skin, but that didn't change what they did to the game through the marketplace. That was probably the biggest driving force to me putting Minecraft down. I went from playing Minecraft every day to maybe once or twice a week. Just a month or so later, dedicated survival games and elytra flying courses were added to the bedrock versions of the game. I didn't exactly know what to make of them, but tried them out nonetheless. They weren't anything like I had been used to back in the Pocket Edition servers or from what I had watched on YouTube. After I dried out those game modes, I just stopped playing altogether. I didn't play Minecraft by myself again until I was around 17, and even then, it was only at a friend's house for a couple hours before we figured out what else to do. That, and I had just discovered the loss of my old worlds on the iPod, which is a sadness I can still feel. That feeling wouldn't last too long though, because in 2019, Minecraft had a huge resurgence. I know that if that hadn't have happened, then I never would have made this video. 2019 was the year that saved Minecraft for me.
We're doing an SMP where everyone streams. You can't play without streaming, and also there's hits.
No,
What do you mean?
that didn't happen. It honestly didn't.
Are you calling us liars?
"2019 was a year that was full of Minecraft for just about anyone. The YouTube scene for Minecraft exploded with content, and a new era of YouTube altogether was born from it. While I was away from Minecraft, I had been able to play many of the games that I wasn't able to when I was younger. Along with that, I was able to watch YouTube freely for the first time in my life. I got used to the availability of free media, so when Minecraft started getting even more popular, I found myself gravitating towards Minecraft YouTube content. I wanted to see what it had become and where it was headed. I wanted to feel the nostalgia from a game I had grown up with, and I got my wish at the beginning of the year when CallMeCarson launched SMP Live. This was the first time I had ever dedicated my time on YouTube to watching Minecraft content. I watched every perspective I could get from people on the server. Doing this got me into many of the creators I still watch today, like JSchlatt and Ted Nivison. I was already wanting to make YouTube content, and this is what sparked some of my more recent inspiration to make videos. Towards the end of the year, I was given a laptop by my parents to do schoolwork and go into college with. With the laptop in hand, I was finally able to make one of the best purchases of my life. I bought the Java edition of Minecraft and finally picked the game back up for real after almost 4 years away from the game. Over the course of 2019, I became enamored with the tech of Minecraft. Shaders and texture packs were at the forefront of my interests. I had to get my hands on the nicest shaders I could, so I installed Optifine and got to work. I wasn't able to get super nice shaders due to my laptop's poor ability to run them, but I got myself some pretty decent ones. I made it a point to get really good at building and detailing in my new worlds. That way I could have something nice to look at when I eventually could get a PC with enough strength to handle some nice shaders. I got invested in studying Minecraft's tech, which brought me to a very sought after version of shaders: ray tracing. The most I'd seen for ray tracing so far was a couple of cool looking montage videos of blocks and maps, and it wasn't until the RTX beta was announced that my interest peaked. Philza was the first person I watched who was able to fully showcase the beta in any way that meant anything to me. Pre-built maps are nice, but one made entirely by you was the exact thing I was looking for: ray tracing in a world of my own design. I just had to get my hands on it. Many of my friends felt the same, but weren't quite as invested in studying all of the mumbo-jumbo behind it. Around this time, myself and a few of those friends came together to make a server of our own to play on. I don't know if SMP Live or SMP Earth inspired it, but I'm glad we made it. We spent just under 3 months on this world before letting it go dark. School kept us from playing on the server, and tensions between a couple members made aspects of the server unfun for many of us. The server began as just 4 or 5 of us. Most of us went far away from spawn to build our empires, and there wasn't really a goal in the server, no roleplay or contest, just fun that we could have on our off time. Many of my first experiences doing big things in the game were on this server. I killed the Ender Dragon with my friend, beat the Wither with almost the whole server at the time, and made many elaborate builds that I poured almost 100 hours into. Around the end of the server's life, I decided to drain an ocean monument. None of the monuments we had found had any sponges in them, so I was forced to go about draining mine the hard way. Over the course of a month, I transferred well over 10 inventories worth of sand from spawn to my monument. The goal was to bury it and patch any remaining water out later. I got about halfway through when the server owner decided to stop paying for the server. At this point in time, only a few of us still played anymore. We grew from 4 or 5 players to around 12, and around the end of our third month, we were at 3 to 4 active players. Instead of just pulling the server, the owner announced the server would go into anarchy the week of the shutdown. This caused one rather silent member of the server to log in and destroy close to everything we had built throughout the server's short life. The only thing of mine that was spared was an outpost over 10,000 blocks away from spawn that I was using to help drain the ocean monument. The server's messy death was saddening to those of us who had our hard work destroyed in an instant. The server owner and another friend of mine weren't happy with the event as they wanted to take world copies to use by themselves. With the death of the server, I tried off and on again to get myself playing the game more often. I played alone on survival worlds trying to get better at detailed builds. By the time I put the game down again, I had perfected a style of building that was nice to look at while still being inexpensive in blocks. I'm still building the same way today. Over the course of 2020, I worked on several build projects. I wish I could get footage for each build, but the ones I made on my Xbox with a couple of friends towards the end of August were sadly lost to world deletions. That and my old Xbox One version of the game that was left before minecoins were added now fails to launch at all. Most of my intricate builds existed on these worlds. There are still plenty of builds still alive and well that I can access, which makes me happy. I've lost many things over the course of 2020, and not losing some of my more treasured builds at least helps with the loss a bit. Some of these builds exist in the RT Game Twitch subserver. It's the only YouTuber server I'm even a part of, and I'm glad I joined. I've been a part of a few of his stream builds, and while none of the builds were very elaborate, I'm at least glad I got to participate and add substance to the streams. At the end of 2020, I got the chance to build a PC to help me with my career goals and get through the heftier bits of my computer work. That and gaming. Lots of gaming. I specifically built the PC around the idea of video editing and media productions. That would be either through streaming or other forms of digital media. Though I did spend a little too much money on my GPU just so I could run ray tracing. At the same time as this, I was attempting to change jobs. This was due to my money being siphoned out of me through college and my job at the time being incredibly low paying. I managed to get my now current job on the same day as the computer arrived. I personally believe that day to be one of the best days of 2020 for me. Once I got everything set up, the very first thing I did was install both Minecraft Java Edition and the Windows 10 Edition. After that, I set everything up for the Minecraft ray tracing beta and got cracking at wiring in my new PC. Just 2 days after getting my PC set up and worn in, I booted up the Minecraft RTX beta. I installed the proper worlds and packs and I loaded in. The first few moments I had in the RTX beta completely changed this game for me. I sat in silence and I just watched how light bounced off the blocks around me, walking around and letting the visuals take me away. The experience reached its peak when I loaded up the beta world for water features. That one quickly became my favorite. There's just something about the features that just leaves me in awe. Adaptive lighting, caustics, and reflections add a kind of beauty to the game that not many other games can pull off. I personally think that Minecraft pulls it off because of what it is without all the fancy ray tracing additions. It's by far not a flashy game. It doesn't try to be. Giving the basic textures and world behaviors an overhaul kinda makes it into a new game. At least, new feeling that is. Making the large jump from the laptop to the PC was either a good decision or an incredibly bad one. On one hand, I have ray traced Minecraft now, and on the other, it's gonna take a lot for me to be truly amazed at a Minecraft shader for a long time. Everything about ray traced Minecraft is just beautiful. I know that many people don't like the idea of shaders or texture packs that make the game look more realistic. It's a belief I also hold to some degree. Ray tracing is nice, but at the end of the day, you're still playing a game based around simple blocks. A simple game that you can do anything with, so long as you have the drive to see it done. I love the look of ray tracing, but I never really turn it on. That is, unless I'm making something to use it for. or to sit in the subtle ambiance of rainy weather. It's going to be quite a while before ray tracing is personally accessible to a wide audience, but I know that time will come eventually. The way I see it, the more people who experience it for themselves, the better. Throughout my re-emergence back into the game, I became far more aware of some of the finer details of Minecraft. One of those things was the music. Back in the early days on the Pocket Edition, I was completely unaware of how tranquil the game was with the addition of the songs made by C418. The game had no ambient music at the time, which made for a pretty bleak world environment. Because of this, and my inability to be on the internet much as a kid, I wasn't aware that Minecraft had music at all until I was around 13. It wasn't until I was midway through high school that I came to truly appreciate and love the music that C418 made for the game. Songs like Sweden, Danny, and Wet Hands all take me back to the subtle feel of a blocky world that I've come to know closely. Nowadays, I mostly turn down the game volume and listen to YouTube videos or podcasts when I play the game, but if the mood strikes me, I turn that stuff off and crank my in-game music back up. Minecraft wouldn't nearly be the same without the music, and I cannot thank C418 enough for making these songs. C418 deserves all the credit for what he's done in music, and not just in Minecraft. Over all of these years, Minecraft has stuck with me. Through all of my ups and downs, it's been there, and I can't imagine a world without it now. If it weren't for this game, then I don't know where I would be. Where the world would be. Minecraft is just one of those games that can do no wrong. It has faults, it has flaws, but that doesn't change how I feel about it. How many people feel about it. I don't know much about life, or about much at all really, but I do know this. The simplest of things, a sunrise, the rain, flowers, the sky, and even a simple cube game. All of these things have the ability to spark something within someone. All of these things have the potential to create joy, and I'm so happy to have them. Like all of the simple things, Minecraft will always continue on. I'm excited for its future and I can't wait to see what it brings to the table next. Thank you to everyone who has poured their hearts out to this game, and especially thank you to the developers who took Minecraft and made it into something so beautiful.